This is something that I wanted to talk about. It's a what I consider a pandemic here in the United States, and that's poverty and homelessness. Here is an article from The Guardian. Its title is "I'm Selling My Blood. Millions in U.S. Can't Make Ends Meet with Two Jobs." More Americans have been working two or more jobs over the past few decades, census data shows. Millions of Americans are currently working two or more jobs in order to make ends meet, as global inflation and corporations jacking up prices have sent prices of food, gas, housing, health insurance, and other necessities soaring in the past year. Cash Lewis, 31 of Denver, Colorado, works two jobs and is currently trying to find a third job to cover the recent $200 monthly rent increase to her apartment. She works days as a barista at Starbucks but claims it's been difficult to get enough hours, even with taking extra shifts whenever she can due to scheduling cuts as part of the crackdown on union organizing by management. At night, she works at a convenience store because the hours are reliable and works 6 days a week, often 16 hours a day. "I'm exhausted all the time," said Lewis. On the one day I have off a week, I donate plasma for extra money. Welcome to America, ladies and gentlemen. For the people outside of America who watch this, and I did look at the demographics, there are a lot of people outside of America who do listen to me. This is what America is. This is the true America. There are no gold roads here. So she says, on the one day I have off a week, I donate plasma for extra money. I'm literally selling my blood to eat because I have no choice. Here is your true America. Here is your reality America. For those around the world who don't know what America is like living in. Her partner suffers from epilepsy and can't work full-time hours because of it. Even with insurance, their medication is expensive, and she spends about half of a two-week paycheck at Starbucks to cover the health insurance premiums. Over the past 5 years, she has struggled with homelessness, which is becoming very common among Americans. Homelessness is a pandemic that no American politician wants to address, because homeless people don't have lobby groups like the wealthy. Homeless people don't have super PACs like the wealthy and the powerful. And so politicians often do not care and disregard the impoverished here in this country. And homelessness in this country has grown exponentially over the years, and it's going to continue to grow and balloon. This is the true America. This is the real America that they don't show you on television when they air Friends and other bullshit sitcoms and shows internationally. Over the past 5 years, she has struggled with homelessness and was previously fired from her job for sleeping in her car behind her place of employment. Now they're firing people for sleeping in their car. Wow. This is your real America right here. Quote, "All of my friends and family work multiple jobs as well, just trying to keep our heads above water. Nothing is affordable, and the roadblocks set up to keep people in the cycle of poverty benefit the most wealthy members of our society," added Lewis. "We aren't living, we're barely surviving, and we have no choice but to keep doing it." More Americans have been working two or more jobs over the past few decades, according to data from the U.S. Census, with women more likely than men to have multiple jobs, and multiple job holders most prevalent among low-wage workers. Laura Richwine of Omaha, Nebraska works two jobs. One is fraud prevention and the other doing administrative work, and had previously been working 3 jobs to keep up with hefty medical bills she's been facing since being hit by a car in 2014. It's rough, and I barely have any energy to keep up with much else, said Rich Wine. I've got a bachelor's degree and I've been working for over 10 years, but up until this year I have never had a job that paid more than $15 an hour. Many places around me still only offer Nebraska minimum wage, which is $9 an hour. You can hardly even buy food with that amount. Based on data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, more than 400 Americans work 2 full-time jobs. I believe that number is underreported. I believe it's over 1 million, easily. In September 2022, 4.9% of all the more than 164 million U.S. workers held 2 or more job positions, over 7.7 million workers. Yep. Exactly, 7.7 million, exactly. That's a closer figure, but I still believe that 7.7 million is underreported. The U.S. Census data estimates these rates and numbers to be much higher, which is what I said earlier, at 7.8%. In the most recent year where data is available, 2018, about 13 million workers, while BLS data at the same time estimated 5.0% of the workforce holding multiple jobs. Both datasets are considered an underestimate, which is what I said. Most of these numbers underestimate the reality of what's going on. Anytime you hear census data or surveys and all of that stuff, they underreport the real findings. Both datasets are considered an underestimate of the number of multiple job holders in the U.S. labor market due to constrictions on what is defined as a multiple job holder and the lack of data on self-employment, such as gig workers. An annual survey sponsored by the Federal Reserve Board estimated an even higher number of workers in multiple jobs at 16.4%. So the Federal Reserve has that number at 16.4% in 2019, about 26.5 million workers. Many of these workers holding multiple jobs are doing so trying to make ends meet and often working longer than 40 hours a week. Robert Weaver of Lawrence, Kansas, currently works 2 jobs as a theater technician and delivery driver, 30 to 35 hours a week at his primary job and about 20 at his second job. He explained that he works 2 jobs because he can't find a single full-time position in his area that matches with his college degree. Most of his disposable income goes towards paying off credit cards, taxes, surprise bills like car repairs and medical expenses. There isn't enough money to be able to afford a home or even rent from just one job on your own, said Weaver. Everyone is in debt and it's looking like we will never pay it off, ever. Lyora Ingle, 37, of Vermont, took on 2 additional jobs, working at a deli and another at a convenience store earlier this year on top of her full-time job in media to try to boost her income and cover expenses while going through a divorce. After working 70-hour weeks, she left her full-time job due to burnout, but still works 2 jobs while trying to get a side hustle off the ground and limiting her work hours to no more than 50 hours a week. Quote, it's kind of like how much of your soul are you willing to sell in order to be financially independent or to make sure that you can pay your bills, said Engel. And that's the end of the article. Like I said earlier, this is the real America. This is the America they don't show you on television when they're exporting TV shows. When you see these fake fantasy Disney figures living it up in the city, And another point, this isn't just a country. They mentioned a lot of countries, country places like Nebraska, Kansas, um, that kind of stuff. This is more in the country. Denver, Colorado. Colorado is a city, um, but it goes to my point. This isn't just a country issue or a rural issue or a suburban issue. This is a city/urban issue. Here in the city, people are having difficulties making rent, which is considerably higher, as are the living wages, wages of living in this country and in many cities across the country. And so many people can't make ends meet. And this is becoming a common problem. And it's one of the many issues, backwards issues that America has that it hasn't addressed and will not address for a variety of reasons, including reasons I stated earlier about there not being lobby groups or super PACs to fight for the invisible, to fight for the voiceless, people with no voice. And so this is America here. When people are, all over the world, this is what we want you to see. This is what you should see that you're not seeing. America has a pandemic of poverty and homelessness that you don't see, but you should. This is what represents America to a lot of people. And so I don't see this problem easing, this pandemic of homelessness and poverty easing. I see it, unfortunately continuing. It's going to continue to grow, unfortunately. I wish that wasn't the case. So leave a comment if you're on YouTube. Tweet me if you're on Anchor. Let me know what you guys think. This definitely makes America backwards. There's a million issues and policies that make America backwards and primitive and undeveloped in many ways and uncultured in many ways. This is one of them. When you can't take care of your poor and your impoverished, you're backwards, you're primitive, you're undeveloped, you're all of these things and more.